It's time to make one more video about the Sony A7C. It's hard to believe that this camera is now over 5 years old. And truthfully, I think I've said everything that I have to say about this camera over the past 4 years. But I just hit a huge milestone of 20,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, and none of that would have been possible without you guys watching my videos about the Sony A7C. So in this video, I'm going to share my final thoughts on the Sony A7C and just reminisce on the good times and the adventures that I've taken this camera on and you guys have seen in my videos. Now, about 2 years ago, I did replace the Sony A7C with the Sony A7CR as my primary camera, but that doesn't mean I have not been still using this camera. I just don't do it as much for YouTube videos. And I still use it almost just as much as I do my Sony A7CR. So I'm gonna talk about some things that I love about this camera, but I'm also gonna talk about some things that I don't love about this camera. Now, I think one of the main things that drew most people to the Sony A7C in the first place is the compact size of it. Now, for me personally, that's a nice bonus, but that's not even what initially caught my interest when I saw the rumors of the Sony A7C and then the first leaked photos. My very first camera was the Sony A6000. And while I don't have it anymore, I greatly miss it and I'll probably buy it again one day. But I had the silver Sony A6000. So when I saw that Sony was releasing a new camera with a similar body style and it had silver, not as much silver, but it had silver on it, I instantly connected with it and I knew I wanted it because I felt like something was missing from my photography because I had a Sony A7R II and it was big and bulky with the battery grip and the 24-70 lens I was using. And I just wanted something that was a little bit smaller, that was more enjoyable to just carry around and take photos with. So I bought this and I don't think I could have made a better decision for a lot of reasons. So my favorite thing about this camera is more of a byproduct of the compact size, and that's the EVF. Not necessarily the size or the resolution of the EVF, because truthfully it's not very impressive and it was only marginally improved on the A7C II and the A7CR. I'm just a huge fan of the off-center rangefinder style viewfinder of this camera. I don't like SLR style viewfinders where the viewfinder is large and bulky and in the center, because as someone who wears a hat pretty much all of the time, let me go get my A7 IV to show you guys what I'm talking about. When you're using a camera with an SLR style viewfinder and you go to take a portrait orientation photo, you're probably gonna do this. You could do this, but you're still gonna be pushing your hat up. And it's really annoying having to constantly fix and readjust your hat, and if you don't want to just leave it up like this. But when you're using a camera with a rangefinder style viewfinder, you can just shoot like this. That way you don't have to fix your hat every single time you take a portrait orientation photo. Now sure, this is an older camera. It's not just 5 years old technically because it does have the internal specs of the Sony A7 III, so it's more like a 7-year-old camera, but that doesn't mean it's not capable. And yeah, it's a little bit slower than my A7CR in pretty much every way, whether that's turning it on or the autofocus or just going through the menu system. But for me, it doesn't really detract from the experience when using it. And for me, the experience is the most important part because this camera helped me appreciate photography in a whole new way, in a period where I was starting to get a little burnt out and not enjoying photography as much as I used to. It opened my eyes to the fact that it's not all about having the best camera. What's more important is having a camera that you find fun and enjoyable to use, because that's what actually makes you want to go out and take better photos, not having the best camera with the highest resolution. Now, before we move on, I do want to talk to you guys about the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is a great platform with classes on anything and everything that you could possibly need to help take your photography to the next level. That includes photography itself, graphic design, art and illustration, video production, audio, marketing, and business. So the first 500 people to use the link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Plus, you can gift Skillshare memberships to your friends and family. So get started today. Skillshare has creative classes taught by amazing world-class creatives and professionals, and the platform is designed to help you build creativity into your life by learning directly from real, super talented and successful creatives. One of my favorite classes that I discovered recently is Eddie Lang's class on mastering composition and light. I've learned a lot from his class, and now that I've been a photographer for almost 10 years now, I've found that it's really easy for me to fall into the same habits and routines when it comes to the way I take photos. So it's really nice seeing a fresh perspective, and it's really inspiring and helps motivate me to go out and take more photos and look at things in a new light. With it being the holiday season, this is a great opportunity to gift Skillshare to someone who might find the platform helpful, so scan the QR code and get started today. So I've made it clear in this video and many videos over the years that I absolutely love the silver model of the Sony A7C. And one of the biggest concerns that I see in the comments of my own videos or in Facebook groups is whether the silver coating on the A7C can rub off or easily become damaged. So after 5 years and about 350,000 photos later, you can see that this is the condition of the silver top. Yes, it's a little rough around the edges, but it's all natural wear and tear. And the most painful bit of damage to this camera is actually these two little spots right here up front, if you guys can even see them, and then this chunk that was just taken out of the corner here. This actually happened to me at one of my very first photo shoots with this camera back in 2020. I was stupid and sat my camera down on a bench and it just slid off. The model I was shooting with acted more concerned than I did. I tried to play it off, and little did she know I was actually dying a little bit on the inside. So this huge chip in the corner and these two marks on the front are a subtle reminder and taught me a valuable lesson, and that's a mistake I never made again. Otherwise, for most people, the most wear and tear you're probably going to see and experience is probably right here around the shutter button and on the front, because this is where your finger is going to be sitting and rubbing on most of the time. I will say that I am using a macro lens, and if you're not looking for it, you're not really going to notice it most of the time. And for comparison, after 2 years, my Sony A7C this is how it's looking. There is virtually no wear on the silver part here around the shutter button, which is actually really surprising and really impressive. I guess Sony did something to improve the silver coating on this camera. Please let me know how your experience has been with this in the comments down below. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is something I'm not sure if I've actually mentioned in a video. I've made so many videos about this camera over the years, but I've talked about it with a lot of other photographers who also own the A7C, and that is the fact that the rear LCD has a magenta hue to it. So if you're someone who does not use the EVF too often, the LCD screen can be a little deceiving. Now, of course, it's not indicative to the actual RAW file or even the JPEG that you might be shooting, but you're probably going to notice that pink tint, so be careful and don't make any adjustments to your white balance. And again, that does not seem to be a problem with the Sony A7CR or the A7C II. And it's entirely possible that this is just a problem with the earlier models of the Sony A7C that were manufactured around the time of the release like mine was. So let me know in the comments down below if you have a Sony A7C and you do not have this problem, or if you do. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the EVF. I've addressed this many times, but it is usually the main topic of discussion when people are discussing things that they do not like about this camera. Yes, the EVF on this camera is not very good. It kind of feels like you're looking into the peephole on your front door or something like that. But you get used to it. Coming from the Sony A7R II, I got used to the viewfinder on this camera pretty quickly. Now luckily I do have pretty good eyesight, but if you wear glasses, you might struggle a lot with this camera. Now regardless of all of those things, this has been a great tool over the past 5 years, and I've shot some of my favorite photos with this camera that I have yet to top with my Sony A7CR. From my time at Cannon Beach, it was my first time experiencing the West Coast and Pacific Ocean, to the first time I drove across the country along Route 66. I would rather have this camera than my Sony A7CR if the price made the difference between me being able to go somewhere and travel to the places I've always wanted to and take the photos I've always wanted to. So I'm done talking. This is probably the last video that you guys will ever see about this camera on my channel. It will not be the last time you see this camera. It'll probably pop up here and there in future photo walk videos. But for now, let's just reminisce and enjoy some of my favorite moments that I've had with this camera so far. We are in Tucumcari, New Mexico. This is just across the border from Texas, pretty much. So many places here to photograph. Literally everywhere I look, there's something to photograph. So many famous or well-known photograph locations here. Take it in. This is the last time you'll ever see this camera on my channel. I'm just kidding. All right, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to help support the channel. I've got a lot of really exciting things coming up in 2026. So if you're not a member of the channel, I would highly recommend becoming one. It is the best way you can help support the channel. In the meantime, I hope I could inspire you guys to get out and take more photos. Go out and shoot.